Welcome back to A Different Opinion. Glad you guys are watching again. If you do like the videos, please leave a subscribe or even like the video just to see the future ones if I haven't earned the right for a subscription yet. On that, let's jump straight into it. So it's an article from the Daily Mail from Tita Smith and Olivia Day from the Daily Mail Australia 15 hours ago. How companies are sneakily getting you to pay more for your groceries. Shrinkflation is the main thing here. So if you don't know about it, let's jump straight into it. Food retailers across the nation are using a sneaky tactic called shrinkflation to make shoppers pay more for groceries without increasing the price of their products. The war in Ukraine has seen Australia, like other countries across the world, smashed by inflation, and soaring petrol prices has disrupted supply chains, drive up the cost of living. Our consumers are also unknowingly being stung by companies using an underhanded trick to cut down portion sizes while still charging customers the same price, or sometimes more. Some of Australia's favourite foods have been subtly shrinking, including Cadbury, Smiths, and Arnott's biscuits. Economist Evan Lucas, the chief market strategist at Investment Smart, said the practice is inflation by stealth. Very true. I mean, I listened to this probably like over a year ago on Tim Pool on YouTube's channel, and he even said, he noticed it back then. So I kept looking at it every time I go to the supermarket, and there you go. You keep seeing things shrinking. So let's say, for example, your butter is usually a 500 gram butter for $4.50. Now it'll be a 460 gram butter for the same price. So it's like that mental thing where you think you're paying the same price for the same product, but in reality, it's actually smaller. That's why you look at McDonald's, things like that. Like, remember how big the Big Mac used to be? And you compare it to what it looks like now. Makes you wonder sometimes. It is literally inflation happening by changing the volume of the weight of what you're buying, but the price stays the same, he told the project. It's a mental thing, a psychological thing, you don't realize it's happening. Products affected include the new Tim Tam varieties, which formerly had 11 biscuits, now have 9. So see how it kind of sticks to that nearly, kind of what you would think inflation is at the moment. Freddo Frogs, which is like a little chocolate that's in the shape of a frog, in case you don't have it where you're from, which is usually 15 grams for a little chocolate. It's down to 12 grams. And Smith's Chips, which is usually 200 gram bag, is now 170. Pringles, usually 200, now 165 grams, so that's a big drop. A pack, while fun-sized Maltesers were usually 144, now 132 grams. And over the past few years, toilet paper has been gradually getting smaller, with US multinational Kimberly-Clark in 2016 reportedly admitting to trimming down their rolls from 11 centimeters to 10 centimeters. While the strategy is not new, shrinkflation has been on the rise over amid the COVID pandemic and has become more noticeable to shoppers in recent months as prices in generally have skyrocketed. That's what annoys me. It's like one of the beers here in Australia is called Carlton Mid. It's usually 3.5%. And just overnight, they changed it to 3%. Same price. No change of price. Didn't even hear a word of it, that it was changing. So people that usually drink are like, what the heck? What's this 3%? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's the weirdest thing. You just kind of, they're not letting you know that they're changing it, but they expect you to pay the same price. But you know what? You're not getting a pay rise, are you? That's what annoys me. Experts warn prices could continue to rise by around 10 to 20% as major supply chains are hampered by the conflict. However, Ms. Lucas said shrinkflation was more aggressive than standard inflation. If you look at inflation right now, it's very high in food, about 7 to 8%, he said. And that's what the inflation is. I don't think why people think inflation's really only 2, 3% like the banks are trying to tell us. Like, that's bull. That is definitely bull. Like, it's definitely around that 8 to 10%, in my opinion. But if you think about it in loss of weight to the products, that's not 7 or 8%. That's 10, 12, and even as much as 20% reduction in weight for some. Yeah, very true. Mr. Lucas forecast grain products like wheat and corn will be next items grossly affected by shrinkflation, as 30% of the globe's supplies come from Black Sea, which lies in Ukraine. Get off the carbs, guys. Get off it. Get off the corn. Get off the wheat. Start eating protein. Start eating more veggies. Eat healthier. Now's the time. It's a good time to start now. The grim economic prediction comes after a photo of iceberg lettuce being sold for a whopping $5.50 forced to stir online last week as Australians come to a stark reality that the nation's rising cost of living. The image uploaded to Reddit on Tuesday sparked a fierce debate among Aussies currently being choked by ballooning grocery and fuel prices. Very true. I mean, if you go and buy healthy as well now, like, I mean, like it is there, $5.50 for a thing of lettuce. I mean, everything is getting ridiculous. Meat prices are ridiculous, like I've said before. Healthy foods are ridiculous. The only things that are staying the same, chocolates, bread, all these kind of mainstays. For some reason, the government allows that to stay cheap. Just like on a little personal note, I've been doing keto for, I don't know, maybe 4 months or so. And I dropped down from 107 kilos down to 87, so dropped 20 kilograms. So I'd say 44 pounds in these 4 months about. And all that is just literally eating probably lunch, probably at 2, 3 p.m., just straight protein, meat with a little bit of fat. And then dinner, I'd eat usually like a salad with some meat, with a protein, some fat, and that's it. And then I won't eat again till the next day, 2, 3 p.m. And yeah, like literally noticed like you feel better, all that type of stuff. So if anything, COVID has actually made me eat better, think probably more about my food. And, you know, if you listen to people like Joe Rogan and all that, who actually just said from the start eating healthier now, that's your best thing against COVID is actually eating better. And yeah, not many people listen because they rather push, let's just get this vaccine, which doesn't even work. Allegedly, should I say. So yeah, that's the Freddo there. That's a chocolate. It's just a little small chocolate. A few weeks ago when our supermarkets had a massive food shortage in last resort, went from my local Aldi to try and get some fresh fruit and veggies. A user shared. They had a lettuce half the size and were charging $5.50 for them. Nearly everything I routinely buy seems to have increased by 15 to 20%. That's why I keep saying inflation's much higher than what they keep telling us. The increases are not small. Another commented, what's going on? Scott Morrison earlier this month warned shoppers to expect food and petrol prices to rise after Russia's invasion, global inflation pressure, Putin's war, and the resulting financial sanctions on his regime have pushed up global oil prices to US $130, the highest level since 2000. Imagine if you bought all that oil back in COVID when it was literally what, like a couple dollars. You'd be very, very rich. The result is that Australian motorists are paying an average about $2.20 a litre and forking out double what they should usually pay for some grocery items. So, I mean, fuel now up here is only $1.90 because they've cut the levy a bit. So I don't know when this article is actually from. 15 hours ago, so I think that's a bit of a overstatement. I got to call it up when it's honest. Global food prices have also increased because of the ongoing conflict. The shut down ports in Ukraine, which is a major exporter of grain and vegetables. Food and grain prices are rising, which will pose challenges to lower income economies, including many in our own region, Prime Minister told AFR Business Summit via virtual speech. Commodity price rises will be the most obvious transmission channel to Australia. Petrol prices have risen like they are elsewhere. Skyrocketing fuel prices is also putting pressure on the transportation of goods as trucking companies are forced to pass the higher price of diesel to their clients. Prices on soft drinks like Coca-Cola, Fanta have increased, while Arnott's, the creator of the Aussie biscuit, Tim Tams, is struggling to secure essential ingredients. Earlier this year, consumer groups One Big Switch and Frugal Grocery compared the prices of common items in Feb 2021 and Feb 2022. In many cases, prices have surged at rates well beyond inflation, with double-digit annual increase for soft drinks, instant coffee, canned goods, and minced meat. Coca-Cola bottles in the same size soared by 60%, $2.85 to $4.55. And drink Coke, guys. That's all I can say. But yeah, it's very true. Like, what's inflation really? Like, who's going to be honest about it, really? I think it's definitely in the 10 to 20% bracket if you average it out or across everything, if not more. If not more. At Woolworths, a 10-pack of Kirk's soft drink cans climbed by 70% from $6.20 to $10.55. Instant coffee prices all soared. Nescafe, Moccona, going up by 50 to 74%. The price increase were well beyond Australia's headline inflation of 3.5% they reckon last year. The biggest lie. This occurred as Australians' wages grew by just 2.3%, with higher inflation effectively eating away pay increases. They need to really, like, companies are still making money. People ain't getting extra money to pay for all this stuff. But, like, yeah, look, to be honest, whenever it's something like this, like, it doesn't really bother me when it's stuff just sugary soft drinks. Like, there's probably worse things in this world that could go up in price. Like, I mean, but like lettuce, all the healthy foods, like that should not be going up. But yeah, soft drinks, sorry if you love your soft drink, but yeah, that doesn't affect me. This occurred as Australians. Yeah, a Coles spokesperson, which is like a Woolworths, said the number factor were driving inflations for all retails, including increase of the cost of raw materials, energy price rises, freight costs, extreme weather events, and ongoing COVID-19 interruptions. Just all lies to try and get more money out. That's what I think. All right. There's just a little one from America, just to show you kind of some of the price rises and shrinkflation, which other countries are doing. So in Walmart, great value paper towels dropped from 168 sheets per roll to only 120, while the prices stayed the same. Frito Lay just shrunk regular bags of Doritos from 9.75 ounces to 9.25 ounces. Both are currently for sale at Target for the same price, about 14 grams. It's dropped down for the same price. Hershey's cut down its 18-ounce pack of dark chocolate kisses by almost 2 ounces, so 36 grams. That's insane. That's massive. Hefty's mega pack went from 90 bags to 80 bags at the same price. 2-pack of Reese's peanut butter cups used to weigh 1.6, now 1.5. Tubs of Pringles are different weights depending on the flavor in the US, but as Walmart, they all cost the same price, 5.2, 5.5, 5.5 price. General Mills shrunk its family-sized boxes from 19.3 ounces to 18.1. Wow, that's nearly 10%. Tillamook decreased the size of its ice cream cartons from 56 ounces to 48. It is said that it didn't make the decision lightly, but that it didn't make its cartons smaller, it would have had to hike up prices because of rising ingredients costs. It's just because this is the thing that annoys me about these big companies. They're making so much money already that this doesn't really affect them that much, but it's cutting into their profits. Profits is what I'm trying to say. If they were really caring about, getting through this together, they wouldn't raise their prices. They would just keep it the same and the same thing and just kind of cut into, obviously their profits. So that's what I'm saying. It's all profit, profit, profit. Like, it does. No one cares about anyone. And I bet you their workers aren't getting any pay rises because of this either. It's all about filling them pockets. Some of rural cans of cat food, cans of cat food now weigh 5.1 ounces, down from 5.9, but they still cost the same. Rural Canon, I don't know how to say that, a subsidiary of Mars, said that it had reduced some product sizes because of unprecedented demand, they say, for pet food during the pandemic. Unprecedented demand, so you make it smaller because there's a higher demand. That doesn't make any sense. Charmin's toilet paper originally had 650 sheets per roll, now it only contains around half of that. But even its mega rolls and super mega rolls don't have as many sheets as the original. Wow. People should just not support these companies. Cadbury changed the shape of its famous dairy milk bars in 2013, changed the size of them too. The individual pieces now have rounded edges and contains nearly 10% less chocolate than before. Wow. But dairy milk isn't the only product Cadbury owned by Mondelez has shrunk over the years. Chocolate bars it sells multi-packs weigh much less than the ones selling individually, and it announced plans to shrink down the size of the multi-pack bars even further. See 36 grams for a single, or 30 grams. Last one. Mondelez also owns Swiss chocolate company Toblerone. Man, I love Toblerone, which makes it distinctively triangular chocolate bars. In 2014, it reduced the weight of its bars by 25% by adding more space between each piece, but reversed the decision 2 years later public outcry. Well done. At least someone listened. It just kind of shows you, just in case if you didn't know what shrinkflation is, now you do. Keep an eye out for it if your normal items that you buy. I mean, it could have been happening now for a very long time. So just kind of keep an eye on your weight, underweight of the product. Maybe rather switch to a product which is the same, but it's giving you 500 grams instead of 460 grams for the same price. Because companies like this, they shouldn't be able to get away with it, in my opinion. They should just, for a year or two until everything's back normal, we hope. We never know when that's going to happen, but just cut into their profits for a little bit, because they're still making money. They might, instead of making maybe $150 million this year, they might only make $120 million this year. You know, and here's us normal people getting a 2% pay rise when inflation really is over 10%. Not this bullcrap that they're telling us is 3%. That's a lie, because I mean, you go do a shop now, we used to pay $60, you're going to be paying over $100 for sure, nearly double. Deals nearly double. Things are changing in size, and then it's still costing more. And you know, obviously with the lettuce and things like that, $5.50 for half a full lettuce of iceberg. Like, just take notice, you know, take notice while this is happening, because that's all they care about. They're trying to make more and more money. It's all about that for them. They don't see people, they see dollars. But I digress. I hope that kind of opened up your eyes if you haven't like seen this before. But you know, definitely tell your friends about it as well. Keep an eye out. Tell them to keep an eye out as well. And you know, it's a really good thing to actually notice. Buy the items, keep the receipts, and then later on, you know, you can actually compare every time you do a shop. You can see, because it actually has the weight of the item on the receipt and also price as well. So you can actually just keep an eye on it yourself. And yeah, I definitely have. You can notice it for sure. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see my future videos. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.